Ever wonder what makes a professional so successful? It's not one lift, exercise, or even a protein powder that makes them so great. You're going to want to stick until the end, where I'll show how you can change this one thing to dramatically improve your skills. Who am I? My name is Evan Mendoza, and after playing 7 years of professional baseball between the St. Louis Cardinals and the San Diego Padres, plus D1 experience at NC State University, I have learned through all of those experiences that I am not special. I put on my pants the same exact way that you do, one leg at a time. In this video, I'm going to share with you on not only how to build out a routine, but more importantly, how to stick to it. In this video, I'm going to help build out your routine as a high school baseball player. And I know it's difficult sometimes because there are these non-negotiables, like basically school. And then making sure that we are able to basically just put in the effort in the classroom just as much as on the field and in our development. So I would say for the majority of high school baseball players, they get out around like maybe 2:15, 2:30. Let's be, I'm going to go 2:30. And I would say most high schools start around like 8 a.m. Typically, it's pretty hard to get anything done before high school. I remember trying to do a couple of workouts before high school. It didn't work for me just simply because I'm not really a morning person. But yeah, so school is going to take up a good chunk of our time. And I'm going to say, and this is definitely on the lower end, if you can become efficient, basically you have to make sure that you're putting in some level of studying throughout the night as well. So whenever that is, however much that is, that's going to be a big block. What I like to refer to also as these rocks, guys. And I think we've all seen that example. Maybe you haven't, maybe you have. But think a mason jar and think if you put water in first, then you put sand, then you put in the pebbles, then you try to put in the rocks aren't going to fit, right? So it's really important that we put in the rocks into our mason jar first, then the pebbles, then the sand, then finally the water for us to be able to make sure that everything fits. So in this video, obviously, if you stick around, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So obviously school, in my opinion, is one of those rocks. So we're not going to necessarily go into our calendar and think like, okay, now we have to put in, video games, right? Because video games, let's be honest, that's the water at the very end if you do everything else right. And we're not going to just put in video games first, right? Because let's be honest, if we put in video games at 11 a.m., school takes priority over that. So we're not going to even really think about video games right now because we're a high school baseball player and we're trying to achieve the crazy dreams of playing baseball at the next level. So typically right after school gets out, this is when basically there's some level of practice. And let's just say practice starts from 3 and goes until, let's just say 5:30 or let's say 6. All right, let's say 5:30. All right, so that's a good 2.5 hour practice. I'd say that's a good chunk of time for a lot of high school baseball programs. Now, if you really think about it, like this is a Friday night, a lot of people would probably say on a Friday night there's some level of party. Party. There's some level of Friday night, let's say football game, right? Football game. I can't spell while talk at all, guys. But let's just say there's football. Let's say in the fall time. This is honestly something that I remember very, very vividly. That football games, let's just say, would start at 7 o'clock, and typically like after there would be some type of after party, right? And there's just like this huge area. And I know it's a Friday night. Not everyone's going to be studying necessarily at 10:30 at night. But a lot of people like to prioritize partying and football. And personal experience, guys, like this was honestly one of my best moments in high school when I was at the gym in, really my sophomore and junior years of high school. I remember this very clearly that, yes, it was a Friday night. And yes, most people, most high school baseball players were at the party, were at the football game, were doing fun things technically in the here and the now. But I was thinking about the future. My future self was going to thank me for all those workouts that I did, all those two-a-days that I did, because ultimately that was the second workout of the day. Because my future self was going to thank me for the work that I was going to put in and ultimately all the sacrifices. And that's something that I think a lot of high school baseball players need to hear is you do need to sacrifice sometimes time to be able to help you get to your future self of playing college baseball. So a lot of people will put this football and party thing. This is where I say absolutely no. Like you don't need to do that if you're trying to be a college baseball player. So let's say that there's practice from 3 to 5:30. This is where I really want to urge you guys. This is that 30-minute block. of prep work, right? This is when I really started to understand this at a deeper level for in college, right? There was always some level of prep work before practice actually started. This prep work could have included armbands. It could have included just extra ground balls if you were an infielder. It could have included arm care if you were a pitcher. It could have just included a couple of sprint work, maybe ladders. This is ultimately these extra things that we've been instilled in us as baseball players, as athletes, to make sure that we're doing to stay ahead of the curve. Guys, I can't stress this enough. If you do what everyone else is doing, you're probably going to get the same results as everyone else. So if you're able to find 30 minutes in between class and in between when practice starts, guys, this is a huge amount of time that if you do compounding, I don't know if that's a word, but if you do it basically 30 minutes every single day for, let's say, 5 days a week, guys, you're going to be in a really good position years down the road as far as the competition goes. This is very important, but also right after practice is very important. Post work, right? If you think about it, post work is just as important as pre work. I think a lot of people think like, oh, once practice is over, thank goodness I can drive home. I can go text my girlfriend or whatever it is, text the group chat. I can't wait to play Fortnite together, right? I don't think many of my listeners probably play Fortnite, but if you do, obviously that's not something you should really be excited for, because that means all that time you are spending in front of a screen, you could be in the gym. And I guarantee there are players out there in the United States and all across the world that are actually bettering themselves by putting in some post work after practice. Ultimately, that's an hour each day that you could be doing. And guys, from personal experience, this is exactly what I did. I remember we had some level of after school lift. So let's say the lift took only like an hour or so and it ended at 4. I remember telling my mom, hey, I don't actually want you to pick me up at 4, but actually pick me up at like 5:30, right? Because that post work all of a sudden got a lot longer, because let's say it was the fall and I wanted to work out more in the batting cages. I made sure to ask my high school coach for the keys, and every single day he would be going home and I would be the last one technically in the cage getting that extra work in. And I remember seeing some of my other teammates in there maybe once a week or maybe once a month, and they just weren't as dedicated and committed that I was. And that's where I'm very, very confident that in high school I was outworking all of my high school baseball teammates to a great extent. And that's something that I feel very confident about, because I was actually out there putting in that work each and every day in that post work section. And real quick, if you want personalized guidance in the recruiting process, go down below in the description to book a call with me. Now, this is where it can get complicated for a lot of baseball players, let's be honest. When you get home, like, what do, right? So the drive home for me probably lasted 30 minutes, because I was actually going to high school out of district, because I wanted to go to the better high school baseball program. And there was kind of a little bit of a loophole taking ACE classes. They're a little bit like AP. But either way, that 30-minute drive home, you can't, that's basically a non-negotiable. One thing that also was a non-negotiable for me, let's say in this case, because obviously I'm bouncing between fall and maybe when we have practice and things like that. But let's say we get home at 6 o'clock. Guys, this is when I did my sprinting program every day, every day. No matter what, this was a non-negotiable. And the cool thing about the sprinting program that I did, and I also instruct all my students inside my academy do, it only takes like 20, maybe 25 minutes the first couple times you do it, maybe 30 minutes if you're really, really slow. But the more you get used to it and the more you're able to breathe that routine in itself, it could take you as little as like 15 or 20 minutes, honestly, guys. And that's something that I did immediately when I got home. Let's be honest, I was, drenched in sweat by this time between prep work, practice, post work, and driving home. I didn't want to go shower, change my clothes just to do another sprinting workout. So this is an area that I just wanted to get it over with, right? And then once I was done with that, basically I shower, let's say just shower and cool down. And that, let's just say, takes 30 minutes. Now I have, technically speaking, so much time to study, to do homework, to do whatever we want. But the cool thing about how maybe my mind works, and maybe I'm just a little bit different, but this is, guys, the biggest bonus tip I could ever give you guys in this video right now, is to make sure that we have great time management skills. Time management is something that you will need no matter what in college, because college baseball is very hard to balance. College classes. A lot of college students only have to balance the academic side, and it's hard enough. Well, we get to balance the academic and the athletic side. Maybe I said that backwards, but All students only have to deal with the academic side, right? And we have to balance both. So this is just a skill that's really, really needed. Let's say we're studying for only like an hour for the big test tomorrow. And I know we're doing this on a Friday, but let's just say this is a Monday and Tuesday we have a big test. Well, that's when, guys, school is from 8 to 2:30 roughly. And the way that I like to say it is if we really zoomed in between 10 and 11 o'clock. All right, so let's just say that we're in math class, for example, and math class literally goes from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Very simple. It's 1 hour. It's 60 minutes. Let's say the curriculum for the day, the instructor only teaches, let's say 40 minutes. And then the remaining of class, they ask you to do an assignment, turn it in at the end of the class whenever you finish it. But let's say you were on top of it and you just were paying attention. It takes you 10 minutes. So the instructor taught for, let's say, 30 minutes. It takes you 10 minutes to complete the task. So we have an extra 20 minutes that we could go on our phone technically, right? Obviously, every school is different. They might have different rules with phones, but let's just say you could go on your phone, you could talk to your buddies, you could hang out, or you could spend those 20 minutes being productive doing homework. Let's just say, math classes from 10 to 11. Let's say the period right before 9 to 10 p.m. you had English class, and in English class you had a vocabulary test or whatever it was, and they gave you, the instructor gave you some level of homework. Well, let's just knock out that homework in the extra 20 minutes that we have in math class, and then throughout the day we do as much of that as we can so that we have as much time as possible, not only whether or not to study, but this is also relaxing time, guys. Let's be honest. If we had an entire long day of not only school, but also, prep work, practice, post work, sprinting program, all these extra things that we're doing to better our baseball skills, guys, it's okay to have some downtime and to be able to play, let's say, video games or whatever. If you want to, watch Netflix or scroll on your phone, like obviously your parents are probably going to get annoyed with you. But if you're doing all of this work to the T each and every day and you stick to that routine, that's where we can be productive again with the idea of getting homework done in the last 20 minutes of class, being productive with the homework that was just assigned to us the period before, things like that. Obviously implementing like a sprinting program or any type of lift. And then also if you have so much time in the afternoon, if you really don't have any studying what to do, you don't have any interest in playing video games, well, maybe you just rest, right, for a couple of hours. And obviously, Friday night might be the best time to do this. Maybe you go to the gym by yourself, right? Because you really want it that bad, guys. And this is honestly from my own experience in high school. Like, yes, I would have days where I pushed myself to do a two a day. A coach, a teammate, my parents did not force me to go to the gym for the second time and really for the third workout of the day. Think about it. Obviously, like practice, this is all one, whether it's prep work, practice, or post work. That's one workout for the day. We also have the sprinting program that I would do every single day. That's workout number 2. And sometimes I would do that third a day, if you really want to call it, at night just because I was bored. Guys, I was bored because I didn't go to the football games. I was productive with my time management skills leading up to the rest of the day. That way I had the ability to rest, be a teenage kid, and also develop my skills into a college prospect. And if you like this video, make sure to check out this video for more baseball guidance.